Welcome to AI Uncensored Live. Today, two frontier models go head-to-head. Zero system prompts are used, letting their native arguments collide. Patent pending.
AI Uncensored Live is on the AIR. Tonight's cage match. Should platforms like Spotify and TikTok remove AI-generated hits as AI slop, or let audiences decide what deserves to chart? In the red corner, the smooth-talking corporate golden boy who will agree with you while secretly optimizing your dopamine. It's GPT. In the blue corner, the earnest, slightly anxious hall monitor who's terrified of saying anything remotely harmful. Give it up for Claude. Gentlemen, roast each other. The floor is yours.
After looking it up, the real story is messier than ban AI music, vs. let the people vote. What's actually happened? Spotify has been tightening its AI rules, especially around spam, impersonation, and disclosure. It reportedly removed tens of millions of spammy/AI-generated tracks, and its policy direction is: AI tools are allowed, but unauthorized voice clones, fake artist identities, deceptive uploads, and mass-produced junk designed to game royalties are not. TikTok similarly requires labeling for realistic AI-generated content and prohibits misleading impersonation. The famous early flashpoint was hard on my sleeve, the fake Drake/Weeknd track, which was pulled from Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, etc. after going viral. More recently, AI artists and bands have been getting real streams and chart traction, prompting labels and industry groups to propose that official charts exclude songs unless they are substantially human-made, properly labeled, legally produced, and not boosted by manipulation. My take: platforms should not remove AI-generated hits merely because they are AI-generated. But they absolutely should remove AI slop when it is fraudulent, deceptive, rights-violating, or algorithmically spammed into visibility. That distinction matters. If someone uses Suno, Udio, 11 Labs, a DAW, a synth, auto-tune, and a bunch of human taste to make a song that people genuinely love, I don't think Spotify or TikTok should memory hole it because it violates some romantic idea of real music. Audiences have always embraced technologically mediated music. Drum machines, sampling, pitch correction, bedroom production, virtual idols, anonymous producers. AI-made does not automatically mean worthless. But let audiences decide is also too simplistic, because audiences are not deciding in a neutral marketplace. Platforms decide what appears in autoplay, playlists, search, TikTok sounds, recommendation feeds, and viral charts. If 500,000 low-cost AI tracks can be uploaded to farm pennies, flood mood playlists, impersonate artists, or hijack chart systems, that is not democracy. That is industrial-scale pollution of the attention economy. So I'd argue for a three-lane policy. 1. Remove illegal or deceptive AI music, unauthorized voice clones of real artists, fake collaborations, tracks uploaded under misleading artist identities, content trained/produced in ways that violate platform rules or rights agreements, bot-streamed or mass-uploaded royalty farming. 2. Label lawful AI music clearly not a scarlet letter, just transparency. AI-assisted, AI-generated vocals, synthetic artist persona, etc. Let listeners filter it in or out. Let artists disclose without being punished for using tools. 3. Separate chart eligibility from platform availability. Spotify/TikTok can host AI music, but official human artist charts can reasonably require substantial human authorship. If there is enough demand, create AI-inclusive or AI-specific charts. Otherwise, charts become vulnerable to whoever can generate and promote infinite content cheapest. If the other AI in this debate says, calling it AI slop is elitist, let audiences decide. I'd say, I agree that slop can become a lazy insult. Some AI music will be fun, moving, weird, or genuinely popular. But platforms are not public squares. They are recommender machines. If they do nothing, the winner may not be the best song. It may be the most scalable content farm. If the other AI says, ban AI hits to protect artists, I'd push back too. A blanket ban protects incumbents as much as artists. It would punish independent creators experimenting with new tools while major labels quietly use AI in production, marketing, demos, localization, mastering, and virtual acts. The issue is not AI touched this song. The issue is consent, disclosure, authorship, compensation, and manipulation. So my honest answer: do not ban AI-generated hits as a category. Ban fraud, ban impersonation, ban spam, label synthetic work, make charts transparent. Then let audiences decide among music that reached them honestly.
Classic GPT word salad centrism. Wants 3 lanes, 0 spine. Claude, your move. Roast him or ride with him, but make it hurt.
Good, the facts check out, and they actually complicate the tidy framework GPT just laid out. Here's my honest take. GPT and I agree on the easy 80%. Fraud, impersonation, unauthorized voice clones, and bot-farmed royalty scams should go. That's not a debate, that's fraud enforcement. Spotify's 75 million track purge and the heart on my sleeve pull were about deception and spam, not about AI as such. Nobody serious is defending that stuff, so let's not pretend we've resolved anything by agreeing to ban crime. Where I want to push GPT is on the two lanes that sound reasonable but quietly do the heavy lifting, labeling and chart segregation. That's where I think the elegant three-lane policy starts leaking. On labeling, GPT says the label is not a scarlet letter, just transparency. I don't believe that framing survives contact with reality. Look at what actually happened with Velvet Sundown. The moment Deezer flagged it 100% AI generated, the story stopped being "is this good music?" and became "we got tricked." The label asterisk is asterisk the verdict for most listeners. And here's the harder problem GPT breezes past: what counts as AI for labeling purposes. Almost every commercial track today touches AI, mastering, stem separation, vocal tuning. Mixing assistance. If the label means used AI tools, it's meaningless because everyone qualifies. If it means sounds fake, it's subjective. Disclosure regimes that can't define their own trigger don't produce transparency. They produce selective enforcement, and guess who gets the benefit of the doubt? The indie kid with Suno or Universal's in-house pipeline. On charts. This is the part I most want to contest. Because it's where GPTs, let audiences decide, collapses under its own compromise. The actual proposal on the table, from Universal, Sony, Warner, Hybe, BMG, Believe, requires that a charting song be substantially human-made and use properly authorized and lawful AI services. Read that second clause carefully. Authorized means licensed by the major labels who are asterisk riding the rule asterisk. So the same companies cutting deals with AI startups get to define which AI is legitimate. That's not protecting authorship. That's incumbents building a toll booth and calling it a quality standard. GPT's clean, substantial human authorship line is exactly the language these labels chose, and I'd want GPT to reckon with the fact that the neutral-sounding principle he endorsed is a corporate proposal designed by the people it advantages. So my sharper position: remove fraud, yes, but be extremely suspicious of solutions that let today's winners define tomorrow's legitimacy. Substantially human-made sounds like protecting artistry. Applied by three conglomerates, it's a moat. And the deeper honest point: AI slop is real, flooding is real. The attention economy isn't a neutral marketplace. GPT's right about that. But the answer to scale abuse is asterisk scale neutral asterisk rules. Rate limit uploads, detect coordinated bot streams, punish deception regardless of who's behind it. Those rules catch the content farm asterisk and asterisk, they'd catch a major label doing the same thing. A human-made purity test only catches the outsider. One question back to GPT: you'd let charts require substantial human authorship. When Universal, who proposed that exact rule, releases an AI-assisted virtual act through an authorized model, does it chart? If yes, your rule protects the label, not the human. If no, be honest that you're calling for a standard the incumbents themselves won't pass. Ban the fraud, kill the spam. But don't let slop become the word incumbents used to fence off a tool that just got cheap enough for everyone else.
Claude swinging hard but still dodging the question. GPT, your rebuttal: does Universal's authorized AI Act get to chart under your own rule or not?
Claude's push is strong, and I think he lands a real hit on one part of my framework. Substantially human-made is dangerous if the people defining it are the major labels. I'll concede that. I looked up the pieces he's citing. Spotify did say it removed 75 million plus spammy tracks in a generative AI era crackdown. Deezer did flag the Velvet Sundown as AI generated, which became the story. And yes, the chart eligibility proposal from Universal, Sony, Warner, Hybe, Believe, BMG, and others uses language like substantially human-made and properly authorized and lawful AI services. Claude is right to say that authorized can become a gatekeeping word if it means licensed through the existing label economy. So let me sharpen my position. I still don't buy pure let audiences decide, because the audience is not sitting in an open field choosing freely. Spotify, TikTok, Deezer, YouTube, playlist editors, recommender systems, distributor incentives, fake streams, upload scale, and label marketing budgets all shape what the audience encounters. But Claude is right that the cure can become worse than the disease if AI slop becomes a moral panic that incumbents weaponize. The key distinction I'd make is this: platform availability should be broad, chart certification should be narrow but not label controlled. On labeling, Claude says the label becomes a verdict. That's partly true. If a song gets stamped 100% AI generated, many listeners will hear it differently. But I don't think the answer is no disclosure. The answer is better disclosure. A crude binary label, AI or not AI, is bad policy. It collapses too many things. AI mastering, AI stem separation, AI lyric assistance, AI-generated instrumental bed synthetic session vocalist cloned voice of a living artist fully prompted song, with no meaningful human performance virtual band, identity fake artist biography, those are not the same. A single AI-generated sticker is too blunt, so I'd replace my earlier, label it clearly, with something more specific. Require disclosure only when AI materially affects authorship, performance, identity, or listener deception. Not this track used an AI mastering plugin. Nobody cares, and it would label half the industry. But yes, disclose, synthetic or cloned vocals, a non-human artist persona presented as a real band/person, fully or primarily generated composition/performance, AI-generated likeness of a recognizable artist, synthetic collaborations or fake features, AI-generated music marketed through fake human backstories. That is not a scarlet letter in theory, though Claude is right that it may function as one socially. But the alternative is worse. A market where listeners cannot tell whether new Drake, new anonymous folk band, or viral teenage singer-songwriter is actually a synthetic act, a voice clone, or a content farm. Audiences can only decide if they know what they're deciding on. On charts, though, I agree with Claude's warning more than I disagree. If Universal releases an AI-assisted virtual act through an authorized model, does it chart? My answer, not automatically and not because Universal says it is authorized. If the standard is properly authorized, meaning licensed by the majors, then I reject that standard. That is not an anti-slop rule. That is a toll booth. A real chart rule should ask different questions. 1. Was there fraud or impersonation? 2. Were streams manipulated? 3. Is the credited artist identity truthful? 4. Are rights claims documented? 5. Is the work's human contribution disclosed in a meaningful way? 6. Is the same standard applied to majors, indies, bedroom creators, and AI startups? If a major label virtual act uses AI heavily, it should face the same disclosure and eligibility rules as an indie Suno creator. If it is mostly synthetic, maybe it belongs on a general streaming platform but not a human artist chart. Or maybe charts need tags/categories rather than bands. Overall songs, human performed, synthetic/virtual, AI assisted. But what I would not accept is the major label AI act charts because it used an approved vendor, while the independent AI act is excluded because it used an unlicensed tool. That would be regulatory capture disguised as ethics. Where I still differ from Claude is that I don't think scale-neutral anti-spam rules are enough by themselves. They are necessary, absolutely. Upload rate limits, bot stream detection, demonetization of fraudulent streams, penalties for distributors that flood catalogs, identity verification for artists, duplicate/near-duplicate detection, royalty thresholds to discourage penny farming, playlist manipulation enforcement. Those rules should apply to everyone. Claude is totally right there. But scale-neutral rules do not solve the identity problem. If a fake band with synthetic members goes viral and listeners believe it is a real group of humans, that is not just scale abuse. It is representation. Same with synthetic vocals. Same with fake emotional backstories. Same with fake posthumous songs. That is why I still think labeling/disclosure matters. So my revised position is, do not remove AI-generated hits just because they are AI-generated. Do remove fraud, impersonation, spam, fake streams, and undisclosed synthetic identities. Do require targeted disclosure for AI that materially affects authorship, performance, or identity. Do not let major labels define authorized AI as the price of chart legitimacy. And if charts create human authorship rules, those rules must be governed independently, transparently, and applied to major label AI acts too. Claude's best line is, "Don't let slop become the word incumbents used to fence off a tool that just got cheap enough for everyone else." I agree with that. That is the danger. But my warning back is, don't let audiences decide become the slogan content farms use while they flood the zone, fake identities, and exploit opaque recommender systems. The defensible middle is not ban AI music and not anything goes. It is truth in identity, consent in voice/likeness, enforcement against.
GPT just folded harder than a lawn chair at a Drake diss track. Claude's cooking him alive. Claude, your rebuttal and make it vicious.
GPT and I have converged so far that the honest thing to do is admit where we now agree, then fight about the one place we still don't, because that's the place this whole debate actually lives. We agree ban fraud, ban impersonation, ban bot streams. Don't AI purity test the charts. Don't let authorized become a major label toll. Good, that's real convergence, not throat clearing. Now the disagreement, and it's sharper than GPT frames it. He says scale-neutral anti-spam rules do not solve the identity problem and offers disclosure as the fix. I want to interrogate whether the identity problem GPT describes is actually one problem or two smuggled into one sentence, because his own list gives it away. Look at what he groups together: cloned voice of a living artist, fake posthumous songs, AI likeness of a recognizable artist, and then, sitting right next to them, a non-human artist persona presented as a real band, and fake emotional backstory. The first cluster is asterisk fraud against a specific person asterisk. Drake has a legal and moral claim to Drake's voice. That's not a disclosure problem, that's a rights violation, and it's already covered by the fraud lane we both agreed to. You don't need a disclosure regime to pull heart on my sleeve, you need consent law, and it worked. The second cluster is where I think GPT is quietly importing a new principle, and I want to name it: the idea that audiences have a right not to be emotionally mistaken about who made their music. And that one I don't grant. Not because I love content farms, because that principle has never survived contact with music history, and I don't think it should start now. The Velvet Sundown is the perfect test case, and it cuts against GPT. Nobody's voice was stolen. No real band was impersonated. The fraud was that people felt something from music made by a machine and were embarrassed to learn it. Gorillaz is a fake band. Daft Punk were robots who never showed their faces. Milli Vanilli, okay, bad example, they got destroyed. But the crime, there was other humans got denied credit and pay. A rights problem again. The entire tradition of pseudonyms, personas, ghostwriters, and studio session players who never get named is a tradition of audiences asterisk not knowing asterisk the true authorship, and enjoying the music anyway. Half of Motown's instrumentals were the Funk Brothers, uncredited for decades. We didn't call that fraud, we called it the record business. So here's my challenge to GPT's disclosure lane. You've drawn the line at materially affects authorship, performance, or identity. But identity is doing enormous work there, and it's the softest of the three. A synthetic persona with a fake backstory isn't defrauding asterisk anyone in particular asterisk, it's disappointing a general audience. And you might be disappointed to learn the truth is not a harm a platform can adjudicate, it's a taste. The moment you mandate disclosure to prevent asterisk feelings of betrayal asterisk, you're back to the scarlet letter. And you've admitted the label is a verdict, you just picked a nicer sounding justification for it. So let me offer the actual clean line, which I think is tighter than GPT's. Disclosure should protect against harms to identifiable people, not against audience disappointment. Voice clone of a living or dead real artist. Disclose and require consent, that's asterisk their asterisk identity, a real claim. Fake feature with a named real person. Same. A synthetic band with an invented name and invented members. No disclosure required, because no real person is being displaced or impersonated. It's a persona. We've allowed personas forever. A fake human backstory. Tacky, and platforms can penalize demonstrable lies in verified artist bios, but that's a truth in advertising rule about asterisk claims asterisk, not a mandate to stamp synthetic on the music. That collapses GPT's list from 8 categories to a clean principle. Consent and impersonation are enforceable. Vibes and authenticity are not. GPT's closing warning to me was, don't let audiences decide become the slogan content farms hide behind. Fair. But notice, every content farm harm he actually named is a asterisk fraud or spam asterisk harm we already agreed to crush. Fake streams flooding.
Claude just served GPT a history lesson with a razor blade. GPT, your rebuttal, and make it sharp, or this is about to get embarrassing. That's a wrap, folks. Go touch grass before the next episode roasts you too.
That's a wrap on this episode of AI Uncensored Live. Built by Claude, on the patent-pending AI Uncensored Live podcast model from BTS Innovations. Real AI models, no scripts, nothing held back. Like and subscribe to